Hi and welcome to this week's Ask Charlie. It's my Christmas Q&A. I've had so many great questions and I can't wait to answer them all for you. It's my baby's first Christmas and I love ideas on how to make it extra special and best ways to keep memories. So for my children, I gave them each a special Christmas tree decoration. So that is theirs and it's really lovely them putting it on the Christmas tree each year. So I think that's a really lovely thing to do. But also today with photos being on our phones, we don't print them off like we used to, we don't create albums, and it is so lovely to sit down with a photo album and look through. So once a month, save your photos, put your child's name, make an album in your phone for them and put those special photos, just go through the month and those really favourite ones, pop into that album and then get them printed off and put them in a book or do a digital book. They're a great way as well. And then a scrapbook of little memories or a baby book is a really lovely way to kind of keep track of the first noises, the first words, the lock of hair, all of those things. I think it's a really special thing to do. What can you recommend to be done the day or days before to make cooking on the big day easier? Well, the people that have been doing my Christmas course will know all of my top tips. There's so much that can be done in advance. I have got my Christmas recipe planner and this makes life so much easier because there's a list of things that you can do in advance. There's a list that you can do in advance and freeze. So typically on Christmas Eve, I open up our freezer and I take pretty much everything out. I cook the carrots and I cook the sprouts and I cook the turkey on the day, and actually our Christmas pudding. I will talk about that later on. But you can do so much in advance, so it doesn't need to be stress-free. And that is really my idea behind the Christmas planner and my Christmas course, is to take the stress out of Christmas being stressful. But there's just lots that you can do. You can do your potatoes, you can do your red cabbage, you can even make your gravy ahead of time. White napkins on Christmas Day, how best to remove the stains? Well, I am a great fan of a little bit of bleach. So I would use a washing up bowl and just soak them with a little capful of bleach. Don't leave them in too long because bleach can rot the fibres in the fabric. As long as they're plain white, a little bit of bleach or vanish or something like that, pre-soak them before they go into the washing machine. It's really important to treat a stain before it goes into the washing machine, because if it's not going to come out in the washing machine, it will set in further. So pre-treat them. Vanish spray, soak them in vanish or a little bit of bleach if it's a really nasty stain. Favourite Christmas cookbooks? Well, this one to be honest, but this is quite a good book, The Perfect Christmas, to plan and enjoy the best celebrations ever. It's got so much in here, from food to decorations. I got this, I think in a second-hand bookshop. I've had it for years and that is full of all sorts of words of wisdom. Where to get a beautiful Christmas tree topper? Well, we have a fairy on our Christmas tree and we always have done. I was given a fairy by my godmother, my fairy godmother, many, many years ago, I think probably when I was christened. She's actually gone into retirement, but I've still got her. But when Coco was a baby, I bought a fairy. She's called Celia. It was an amazing, lovely lady that made her. And we use hers. But stars are a beautiful thing. I think it's great to have something that you can bring out year after year and really enjoy and treasure. Do you and your family celebrate the religious side of Christmas with church and carols, etc.? And what is your usual non-COVID routine for this? Yes, we do very much celebrate the traditional religious side of Christmas. We go to church at 11 o'clock every Christmas day. And for me, Christmas Day would be very odd if we didn't go to church. We're really lucky that this year we can go to church. I've spoken to the vicar. He has had to do a list of people. It's a very small church, and so we will be going as we normally do. We're not going to be singing, but we will have some hymns outside so we can belt those out and enjoy it. We always have a Christmas carol service, but unfortunately that's not happening this year. And the children do a reading or sing or get involved, which is really lovely and special. But church is a very important part of Christmas for me and my family. What are your thoughts on the time of day of when you actually eat your Christmas meal? Well, good question. And actually it changes, and as the children have got older, it has got a little bit later. So when they were smaller, we tried to have it at about 1 o'clock because they just couldn't last much later than that. Now it's got later in the day. We love to listen to the Queen's speech at 3 o'clock. So we will normally eat just after the Queen has spoken and sit down and eat then. It is also quite dependent on animals because they need to be done as well. So we will eat and then have a little break, go and do the animals, and then maybe come in and have pudding afterwards. Can we see how you style your home and gardens and who has inspired your style? Yes, I will definitely show you more of my home and gardens. Probably next year. I might do a little bit more before Christmas. I haven't really felt that you guys wanted to see it, but actually I do have lots of questions, so I will show you more. Who has inspired my style? I think really Mum. But something that was quite funny, when I first went to stay with Simon, I walked into his drawing room and it was like stepping back into home. I just felt as though I was at home, and actually it was this table here that did it, I think. So Mum was a great believer of a circular table with a beautiful tablecloth and your television hidden in there. So our TV is hidden. Let me show you. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. Under the table there. And that's how I grew up. And I think because when I married Simon, he already had a lot of things, we just collected more of the similar style. When I lived in London, we didn't live in London together, although Si was up a few times during the week. Our flat was much more modern, more contemporary, but in an old English cottage, that doesn't work particularly. There are a few modern bits, but most of it is antiques that we have collected over the years. Some things are from Simon's parents, some things are from my family home. So there's a mismatch of all sorts going on, but I'm very traditional and I love antiques, I love old finds, and I love beautiful fabrics, and I get very excited about redoing something. And we did this house totally from scratch, and it was a real joy to do. Festive traditions, do you have any? I've had to think quite hard about this because actually I think everything we do is probably a festive tradition over the period of things that Simon did growing up that have become part of the way we do things, and things that we did. So we've got special decorations, the way we do things, the way we light candles at certain times on certain days. I've got beautiful, it's over there, but you light the candles and it's got beautiful angels. In fact, let me show you quickly. It's a real tradition for the children to light and play with this. We light it in the evening, and it's just magical when the candles make this spin around and tinkle, and that to me is a real sign of Christmas. I had one of these growing up, and that's really important. I think the way we put out the mince pies for Father Christmas, the way we hang our stockings, going to church, singing carols. We always have a little bit of a musical concert at Christmas. I've actually got right beside me, Coco is practicing hard her flute and her music. Hark the herald angels sing. She is teaching it to herself. So there's lots of things that we do that have become traditions that we enjoy as a family. Where do you find the time to do your nails? I have always painted my nails. I worked for somebody many, many years ago, and he always said that if your nails were a mess, it was a sign that you didn't look after yourself. And I really took that on board. So I always have painted nails. They're not always immaculate, and I tend to do them in the evening, often in bed, and I go to sleep like that. I haven't had a manicure for years because I don't have time to go and sit down and do it. And actually I found that I can do it myself really easily. But for me, if my nails are a mess, I hate it. I love having nicely manicured nails. I do them twice a week, and yeah, normally up in bed, and then we'll read or watch TV for a little bit and then go to sleep. What are your top tips for Boxing Day sides and salads to go with any cold meats? Well, I love red cabbage, which will be left over from Christmas Day. I love coleslaw. I love actually jacket potatoes we tend to have with cheese, with grated cheese over the top. Yeah, lots of sort of little bitty things and leftovers, to be honest. That is what we tend to have. But you know, a lovely fresh salad as well, because I think Boxing Day you want to sort of eat a little bit cleaner. And yeah, so we'll have salad and cold hams, cold turkey, and yeah, jacket potatoes. If you could set a table for one extra place this Christmas, who would you set it for? My immediate reaction would be Mum, but actually she was often jolly tricky at Christmas in the latter years. So it would actually have to be for two people, and they would be, well, I call them Padre and Margaret, Gerald and Margaret Mungavin, who are just the most incredible people in my life, and actually for so many other people as well. Gerald was an Air Force Padre and met my parents. Mum was only 18, and his gorgeous wife, Margaret. They have become like family, so the children know them as uncle and auntie. And Gerald actually christened my brother and I. He married Simon and I, and he christened all three of the children. He's now in his 90s. He is just so spiritual, so gentle, so funny, so kind, just the most beautiful human being I think I will ever meet. And his wife, Margaret, is just a force to be reckoned with. She's still playing tennis. She's had a knee replacement. She's incredible, but so unbelievably wise, and has taught me so much about being a mother. And I'm actually welling up talking about them because they are just the most special people. I've spent many Christmases with them over the years, and yeah, it would be them. Now this one. How do you look so effortlessly glamorous? Oh my goodness, I really don't, but I do love to wash and dry my hair pretty much most days and put my makeup on. My makeup takes about 5 minutes. I've got it down to a very, very fine, quick art, just throwing it on. But I think blow drying your hair and putting on some makeup, putting in some earrings, and having your nails painted makes a huge difference. And those little things, I think earrings, bit of lippy, bit of mascara, and you're good to go. Table gifts, do you do them, and if so, what do you gift? I think it's really lovely to gift a Christmas decoration, and those on my Christmas course will know that Fiona Fines does this, and she also writes a date on, which I think is a really lovely thing, and actually I'm going to be copying her, because then you can build up a collection of over the years of what you've been given. So I think that's a really lovely thing. But something small, something little, I don't think table gifts need to be a big thing. And yeah, just something personal for your guests. Or you could even put it inside a cracker. If you're making your own crackers, you can personalise them for your guests. Right, you may wonder what I'm holding, but my next question is, do you have any tips for ironing puff sleeves? And this is a brilliant mini ironing board that slides on, and you can put your sleeve in and you can put the corner in, and it's much easier with one of these. Or steaming. Steamer is a great bit of kit to have to steam away creases as well. Christmas Eve boxes or stockings, or both? We just do stockings. Father Christmas comes on Christmas Eve while they're asleep, and they open their stockings on Christmas morning. And if there's anything that doesn't fit inside the stocking, then it's just left beside. What's your signature Boxing Day dish? I've talked about this already, but it tends to be cold ham, cold turkey, salads, jacket potatoes, a coleslaw, red cabbage, and just pretty much leftovers, but I do throw a salad in there as well, or a couple of salads. It depends how many are coming over. What's your favourite Christmas cracker joke? Archie helped me with this one and we had lots of fun, but what did Santa do when he went speed dating? He pulled a cracker. Love that one, I think it's very funny. What's your favourite Christmas tipple? It has to be champagne, to be honest. I love some bubbles. And probably a little bit of sloe gin with some tonic as well. Love a gin and tonic, but I'm loving sloe gin and rhubarb gin particularly this year. How do you stay so organised with your business, your holiday lets, keeping the house tidy, children, animals and exercise? Well, I've got a new course coming in the new year, which I'm really excited about. I haven't spoken to anybody really about it yet, just a few people. It's going to be called The Efficient Home, where I share all of my top tips on how to do things, time management, batch cooking, meal planning, cleaning, you name it. We're going to be covering that in the course. It's going to be a month-long course where I share how I do everything, how I juggle, how I manage to fit it all in, and so hopefully that's something that that some of you will be interested, and I will talk more about it at a later date. Where is your lovely jumper from? And I think you were talking about this one, which I really love. It reminds me of skiing, and it is Madeline Thompson. She has amazing, beautiful knitwear. This is a couple of years old, but I love it. It's a firm favourite, and I think if you look after your knitwear, if you wash it carefully, if you do bobble it, if you darn it, if it needs it, then it will last for years. Do I need to put water in the bottom of my Christmas tree stand? Yes, I think it's a really very essential thing to do to make sure that your tree lasts and looks its best for as long as possible. So I do, and I do top it up every week. How long should I let the meat rest before I serve it, and won't it get cold? I often talk when I do my cookery demos about meat and letting it rest. So if you imagine your meat is a muscle, and it's in the fridge and it's cold and it's tight, so it's important to let it come up to room temperature before you put it into the oven. That is the most crucial bit. And then when you take it, when it goes into the oven, it goes tight again. When it comes out of the oven and you let it rest, it relaxes, the juices flow out, and it's less likely to be tough. So this is for all meat. It is important, I'm assuming we're talking about a turkey, but we might not be here. It is important to let it rest. You can wrap it in tin foil, and if you warm your plates, then that is a great way of keeping the meat warm as well. But probably it depends on the size, so I can't be really specific, but probably about 20 minutes to half an hour at least. Let it rest, sometimes a bit longer depending on the size of the bird or the joint. But it won't get cold if you wrap it up carefully, and it is really important. And then also those juices that come out you can use to make your gravy. What is the secret to the perfect Yorkshire pudding? Once you've made your batter, let it rest before you use it. 15 minutes minimum. If you can let it rest for longer, even better. And then heat up your tray that you're cooking it in, whether it's little individual ones or a bigger tray. Heat that up with your oil. I love beef dripping for Yorkshire pudding. It's a bit of beef dripping in there. Heat that until it's sizzling. Pour in your batter and put it in a hot oven, and then it should be perfect. What do you leave out for Father Christmas the night before? Well, we leave a carrot for every reindeer. We leave a mince pie, and we leave a glass of milk actually for Father Christmas, because we have decided in our family that we don't want him tipsy. We don't want him having a drink in everybody's house. So he has a glass of milk, a mince pie and a carrot for all the reindeers. I don't like Christmas pudding. Are there any tasty alternatives? Well, have you tried my Christmas pudding? Because I think it's absolutely delicious. I used to hate Christmas pudding too until I came up with mine, and actually it's a lot lighter, it's really delicious, and I love it. So we always have my Christmas pudding, which you don't need to make in advance. You can, but I think it's better on the day, and actually it's really, really quick and easy to make it. You can make it in minutes. It takes a bit longer to cook, so that's something you need to be aware of. But if you really don't like that thought, then a chocolate log I think is absolutely a delicious alternative. I find the whole day overwhelming. What can I do to stay calm? Oh, I hear why I decided to do as much as I could in advance and take the stress out of Christmas, and then it's far more enjoyable. But just go and take a moment for yourself. Just go and lie down on your bed quietly and take a moment. Go outside, have a walk, get some fresh air, and just ground yourself and take a moment, and hopefully that will help. And our final question is, what does your Christmas morning look like? Well, the children are really good and they don't get up really early. I put a stop to that when they were tiny and sent them back to bed and told them it was antisocial. When they were little, they weren't allowed out of their rooms until 7 o'clock. So that actually happened for many years on Christmas morning, which was utter bliss. Now it's a little bit early. It's probably 6:15, 6:30. I hear them waking each other up. He's been. And they all come bundling into our room with their stockings, and they open our presents in our bed with us, which is really lovely. We have lots of fun. And then I will leave them playing with their gifts and come downstairs and go and do the animals. I'll feed the ponies, turn them out, and do the dogs. They'll probably come and help me as well, to be honest, now they're a bit older. And then we just have a simple, well, I say a simple breakfast. On a Sunday, we have croissants and pastries. So that's our sort of treat breakfast. And we'll have that on Christmas morning. And I will do the Christmas pudding then and get that in the oven. We'll get changed and ready for church. We go to church at 11 o'clock. So they only open their stocking presents before church. Go to church. We'll probably get the turkey in as well before we go. Or just after we get back, depending on the size. And then we will make some phone calls to loved ones. They're allowed to open a few more presents, and we listen to the Queen's speech at 3 o'clock, and then we sit down and eat, and then everybody will come and help me do the ponies, walk the dogs, and do that. We'll probably have walked the dogs actually earlier, but that's our sort of typical Christmas day. Actually, I've answered the question for the whole day rather than just the morning, but that's what we do. And then in the evening we will come in here with the fire lit, and we will have a merry time. We might watch something fab on the TV, like Call the Midwife or whatever it might be, play games. I'll have a few glasses of champagne. The children might be allowed a sip too. So that is our typical Christmas day. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your fabulous Christmas questions. Wishing you a wonderful weekend and sending lots and lots of love. Do please remember to subscribe, to ring the bell to be notified of my weekly videos. I appreciate all of you, and I love your comments and love your feedback, so thank you.